Hello, Internet. I'm John Kapora, half of the team behind the Shadows over Innistrad reviews and our YouTube channel that you should really subscribe to. And today I've got my friend, my Grand Prix DC teammate, a hashtag MTG dad and level 1 judge, Jason Corrigan. How are you, Jason?
I'm great, John. How are you?
I am flawless. Today, while I've got you here, we're going to ask you some questions on how the Shadows over Innistrad mechanics works. We've been getting a lot of questions about them, kind of bouncing around the office, and I know I want to go into the pre-release prepared. And that is where you come in.
Okay, I'm ready. Give me everything you got, John.
Sure. First things first. Walk me through how transform cards work. So let's say I've got an Arlen Cord, and I activated Zero ability, and I transform it. What happens?
Okay, so first, her Zero ability tells her to become Arlen Embraced by the Moon.
Sure.
So she'll have the same number of loyalty counters as before, but you'll need to wait a turn before you can use any of her Wolf Side abilities.
Sure, because she's the same card, so I can't. And in Planeswalker, you can only use its abilities once per turn. So even though it flips, I can't. It remembers.
Yeah, it remembers. It's the same object. The game treats it and remembers it as the same thing that flipped.
Sure, perfect. So that means then that, like, if I've got an aura on a Hinterland Logger and it turns into a Timber Shredder, the aura is going to stay on?
Yeah. It's the same object, never left the battlefield. All the auras attached to it, all the equipment attached to it, all the +1/+1 counters attached to it.
Nice.
They all stay right where they are.
Perfect. Well, I love a good logger. The next question isn't much of a question. Can you walk me through how Madness and the timing of it all works? All right, so I'm gonna paint you a little picture here. Let's say on my opponent's end step, I cast Lightning Axe and I discard Incorrigible Youths. Can I cast Incorrigible Youths for its Madness cost on my opponent's end step, even though it's a creature?
Okay, so the answer to that question is yes, you can, even though it's a creature.
Sure.
So here's the play-by-play for that.
Okay, let's go.
So first, you discard the Youths as part of the cost for the Lightning Axe. But you don't discard it to your graveyard. You discard it directly into exile.
Okay, so that's a triggered ability then, so it goes on the stack.
Right, there's a triggered ability that goes onto the stack.
So
that's called like the Madness trigger.
Great, and so it goes on the stack, and if I pass priority while it's on the stack, I can no longer play the card?
Right, the resolution of the triggered ability is what gives you that timing window to either put the card into the graveyard from exile or to cast it for its Madness cost.
Okay, so priority would go to my, if it's my opponent's end step, priority would go to my opponent.
Yep.
And then to me, at which point I would have to pay the Madness cost, or else it goes from exile into the graveyard and I can't cast it anymore.
Correct.
Okay, so let's say that Madness trigger goes on the stack, and my opponent exiles it with, say, or not exiles it, puts it into the graveyard from exile with Oracle of Dust.
So processes it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can't play it anymore for its Madness cost if it's in the graveyard, right?
Yeah, it's going to be where the game doesn't expect it to be.
Sure.
So it's going to lose track of it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. This is the last question, and then I will let you go. If I have Delirium and I connect with an Angel of Deliverance, but my opponent activates Tormod's Crypt and I lose Delirium, do I still get that trigger?
Okay. Bad news, John.
Yeah.
Your delivery's been canceled.
Ah, come on.
Okay. So that's because the Angel's Delirium ability has what's called an intervening if clause.
Okay, I'm listening.
So the Angel reads, basically, when it deals damage, if you have Delirium, exile target creature an opponent controls. Now, when you see a triggered ability like that with an if after the when, the at, or the whenever, that means it checks twice.
Okay.
Once when it's going to go onto the stack,
and then
once when it tries to resolve.
Sure, okay. So if my delivery's been canceled.
Your delivery's been canceled. You don't have Delirium when the trigger is resolved, so you don't get to exile the creature.
Well, that is wonderful. Not the answer I wanted, but it's the answer I deserve. Thank you for coming on and helping me out with that stuff.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
Signing off for the day, I am John Kapora.
I'm Jason Corrigan.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye, Internet!